as many people as possible in the time allotted. And Premier, if you'd like to get started.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Everything is dry. Everything is incredibly dry around our province right now. Lakes are down, ponds are down, rivers are down, streams are dry. People who actually regularly spend time in the woods are avoiding the woods. Forest contractors are voluntarily pausing their operations because it's just too dry. And they don't want to be the person or the company that accidentally causes a fire. And fires can start in so many ways. Over the last week, we've averaged about 2 fires a day. That's a lot. Yesterday, natural resources were dispatched to 17 fires. 17. Thank you. In normal times, a fire crew might have somewhere in the vicinity of 20 to 25 minutes to get to a fire in the woods and try to get it controlled before it runs away. And under current conditions, it's more like 5 minutes or less. Some of these things can just run away immediately. So obviously we're in a really, really tricky situation here in the province. And the main reason that we haven't had a catastrophe yet is our firefighters. They're stretched very, very thin right now. And you might not see it on social media, but they're out working very hard nonstop. Just think of the number of fires we had just yesterday. So they've done an amazing job. They're giving it their all, risking their own health to keep all of us safe. So there really aren't enough words for me to say how grateful all Nova Scotians are to our firefighters and to their families for their sacrifice. So it's up to the rest of us to support them. And I get that people want to go for a hike or want to go for a walk in the woods with their dog, but how would you like to be stuck in the woods while there's a fire burning around you? I don't think anybody would want that either. So be smart, be human, don't look for loopholes. An out-of-control forest fire is a terrifying thing. So treat this situation with the seriousness that it deserves. We are, certainly as a government. Since last week's announcement on restrictions, 12 fines have been issued. It's certainly my hope that every single one of those is fully prosecuted and collected. It's just too serious of a situation right now. I know that many people in the Halifax and surrounding area could see the smoke from the Suzie Lake fire yesterday, and I know that was kind of a real emotional thing. It's very scary. We're all on edge, but thanks to the tireless efforts of the firefighters, so far there's not been any loss of life or any loss of structure. So I want to thank them again for that. I want to thank our neighbors in New Brunswick for quickly sending air support. We sent support to them the day before. They sent support to us. This is the way these things work. So I do want to thank them for being so responsive. It's going to be a long next few weeks. It's going to be a long stretch here. There's no real rain in the forecast, certainly not in the orders of magnitude that we would need in this province. And so far, we've been dodging bullets. Think about it, 17 fires just in the last 24 hours. The province is a tinderbox. It's so easy for a fire to start right now. We haven't had any rain since June. So Nova Scotians are good at stepping up. It's the Blue Noser spirit. It's the Blue Noser way to step up. I spoke with Todd Burgess at Forest Nova Scotia yesterday, and he assured me that the forest industry is here to help however possible, and many others as well have reached out. And for some of us, stepping up means just stepping out of the way. If you're out in a boat in an area near fires and you see an aircraft looking to come down for water, please clear the area so the aircraft can do their work. Take your boat somewhere else. Don't stick around and watch. Please do not get in the way of these water bombers when they're working. The same thing with your drones. I'm sure it would be really exciting and interesting to get some great content of a fire. But if there's a fire in the area, get your drones out of there. Just stay out of the way. Please do not get in the way of these hardworking men and women while they do their work. I know the restrictions that we have in place right now aren't fun, but they're certainly necessary. Due to the dry conditions, we're also now recommending that activities that require heavy machinery, including agriculture and forestry, that they restrict their activities to between 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. if possible. And certainly please restrict those activities between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. at the heat of the day and the heat of the high heat. It's just too dangerous and poses too much of a risk right now. We're also asking those who carry out industrial activities, including farming, to have fire equipment accessible and where possible, even water on the site. I know some people are doing that already. We appreciate that. And to maintain a fire watch 2 hours after operation is completed each day to ensure that there's been no ignitions caused by the operations. We'll reassess constantly, and certainly after the next 24 hours to see if any rain may come. Certainly, we need some significant rain. In the fullness of time, there will be rain. We don't know when, but there's one thing the weather knows how to do in Nova Scotia, and that is rain. And it will ultimately rain in the quantities we need, but that's not in the short-term forecast. We're not seeing that. But when we get the rain, when the risk is over and subsides, we can all breathe a little easier. And at that time, we can loosen restrictions. But right now, we just ask everyone to do their part to support our province. And in the meantime, go to the beach. It's a great place for a hike. Try to make the most of the sun while you're there. Well, it's here, but away from the woods and away from the risk. Thank you.
Scott, do you want to go ahead with some remarks as well?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks. Thanks, Premier. And to echo the remarks, last few days and weeks, we can't say enough about our first responders, between DNR, firefighters, and the municipal and volunteer fire departments, just incredible. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Premier. In the last 24 hours, crews have responded to 17 reports of wildfires, like the Premier mentioned, including Suzie Lake. In the past 3 weeks, we've responded to one or more reports every single day. I'm going to give a brief update on the Suzie Lake fire and our next steps. Yesterday, we got a call from 911 at 2:24 p.m. about a wildfire in the woods in the vicinity of Suzie Lake Crescent. We immediately dispatched crews to the scene alongside Halifax Regional Fire and Emergency Services. At 2:49 p.m., we sent 2 helicopters to the scene to start dropping water and later sent a third. Due to the combination of conditions and the proximity of the fire to structures and people, we called in additional air assets from New Brunswick. 4 802 aircraft from New Brunswick each did a single run to drop fire retardant, return to home, and then return to home because they need to land at their facility to reload. Following them, there was 2 CL-415 aircraft that were able to draw water from Governor's Lake and drop on the fire. They stayed on scene until about 7 p.m. when they had to return New Brunswick to fuel as well. The pilots also needed a break and weren't actually going to be available till later in the day. Department crews stayed on scene until after dark, and Halifax Fire and Emergency stayed overnight to monitor the fire. This morning we had 30 department firefighters on scene at first light, followed by Halifax Fire. Right now we have 2 helicopters at Suzie Lake Fire, and we have 2 helicopters working on 2 small but out of control fires at Lake Paul in Kings County. And I should make an update, even as I drove in here today, one of those fires down in Kings County actually is now under control. That's an update within the last 30 minutes or so. As of now, Suzie Lake is still out of control, and it's measured at 15 hectares. It's not growing, but we're not ready to say it's being held just yet. I know everyone wants to know the cause. What I can say right now is that we are investigating, as we always do. I want to wrap up by emphasizing that our wildfire prevention measures are necessary. So please stay out of the woods and do not burn. And please do not fly drones around fires. Our crews are doing their best to keep us safe. I want to say thank you for all the help we've received from our partners at Halifax and New Brunswick. The resources we brought together on this fire are a testament to the effectiveness of regional coordination efforts and the scope of resources we have available to us when we need them. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Scott. We'll now move to the room with reporter questions.
Premier, after the 2023 wildfires, your government considered buying fixed-wing water bombers but elected not to, the kind that helped out yesterday at Suzie Lake. Do you think there's a need for Nova Scotia to have its own fixed-wing water bombers?
We have expert firefighting capabilities in the province. It's incredible the talent and the resources we have here. We did an assessment at that time, and you know, there was a determination that, you know, for the vast majority of fires in this province, somewhere in the 98%, the helicopters that we have significant helicopter firefighting capabilities, are sufficient. So, you know, there are times when you can use a little more support. We're seeing that, and maybe we're seeing that more frequently now with the way that the climate is changing. So we'll constantly evaluate that. And if we need to order some, we will. But you know, Scott can speak to, and he touched on it in his comments. But the kind of the mutual aid system we have here nationally, and you know, with our neighbors, it's very effective. So. We have significant capabilities. Will we look at adding more? We're always constantly evaluating that. But right now, the conditions are just so certainly unprecedented right now, and hopefully in the fullness of time will show themselves to have been unique. But that we'll only know that in time. But it's a constant evaluation.
I think that is the worry. Some people that we might have a situation where there's fires in New Brunswick, they need their resources. There's fires in Newfoundland, they need their water bombers, and that there aren't any available when we need them here.
There's fires in New Brunswick right now. There's fires in Newfoundland right now. I mean, we put the measures we thought were appropriate in Nova Scotia to keep people out of the woods. We knew the risks were high here, but when New Brunswick called and said we need some help, we sent some help. The next day, we need some help, and they sent some help. So I think this is you know, part of the strength of the region and of the country. But you know, we try to plan and be prepared. We have expert firefighting capabilities. I wouldn't want to for one second leave it implied that we're unprepared. And the helicopters are very effective in numerous situations. But you know, if you're asking me if we'll consider purchasing bombers when this is all said and done, yeah, we're constantly looking at that.
Premier, it sounded to me that you are requesting that for your operations either cease or go at night. Why not just make that an order? New Brunswick has banned it completely. Why isn't your government?
We have a permitting system in place that we installed last week. I think that's been working pretty effectively. We'll constantly assess the situations, but there's we're looking at what's in front of us. A number of people have voluntarily taken cease their operations, temporarily, and taken gear out of the woods, and others, have firefighting capabilities around. So we'll constantly assess it.
We haven't been able to get a clear answer on this. Has herbicide spraying been ended? Because the concern is that obviously it kills growth and adds to the fire burden, potential fire burden. Is spraying going on now, or has that been banned?
I don't know if there's any spraying at the moment, but certainly it's not banned for all time in our province. If it's been temporarily ceased, I'm not sure. But
the question is specific to the fire risk, not permanent. Has it been banned?
Is anyone spraying yesterday, today, tomorrow? I don't know the answer to that.
For Scott, I understand that you're not able to say the cause of the Suzie Lake fire under investigation. Are there early indications that this would be human caused? I know that is largely what causes forest fires in this part of the country.
So that the cause of the fire was related to human activity. It was an open fire. There was nobody in the area when the crews arrived on scene. That makes it impossible to hold the person or people responsible to account. And yeah, that's frustrating to everyone. But can
you say like the location of the start of the fire more precisely?
No, I can't. I don't have any details. It is an ongoing investigation, and there's no details.
This is the Suzie Lake fire, right?
Yeah. Yeah, correct, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have any additional details, other than it was human activity, yeah.
Can you share the specific location of where that you said open fit fire was found?
I don't have that to share today, no, just we can share that it was human activity, but it's an ongoing investigation, so some of those details I don't have to provide.
A question for the Premier. What would you say to the individual responsible for that fire, and what would your message be?
Use your head. Don't be around the woods. Don't be having, respect the law.
Was there can you speak to the threat, or how big the threat was, specifically to the outpatient clinic, but other structures in the area?
My understanding in talking to the incident commander and their, the weather and things like that, they did take the precautions, certainly advised, the Kent and that strip, and the way the wind was moving, probably more of an immediate threat, when they were making their first assessment. Outpatients, certainly the move I think was made as a precautionary, but the wind was pushing it away from the center. But it's an active wildfire, so I don't think there was any poor decisions or anything like that to.
Is air quality an issue?
Not so much yesterday afternoon, again, in the way the wind was going, but as the wind backed off through the evening and then through the night, yes, there was a lot of smoke kind of drifting. But yeah, so it kind of changed as the weather conditions changed, but yeah.
Concerned are you that the fire could grow further, and how much, I guess, help or protection does the lake itself provide?
So the fire is not currently growing. We had very favorable firefighting weather this morning, so that's helped the crews. They called in lots of reinforcements last night. We do have 2 helicopters on it. The lake, obviously provided an excellent barrier to spread. We did have a concern that the fire could spread through what we call spotting, through the wind yesterday, but we don't have any indications that it did spread past the lake. So right now, crews are still working very, very hard to contain the active perimeters of that fire, but right now it's not growing.
What would it take then to be classified as held? And just to clarify, there's no risk still to any homes or businesses, is that correct?
No immediate risks, but the crews want to get a little more confidence in just getting some more water and some more hose line and controls around basically the east and west flanks of that fire.
Is that something you hope could change tonight? Like, as of tonight, we could see a status change?
Certainly hopeful in a status change as soon as we can get it. We know the crews are working very, very hard, and that's one of the goals they're trying to achieve, certainly today. I don't want to commit to it on their behalf here, but I know that's their focus today, is to contain those active perimeters. The lake has certainly helped. Yeah.
Tingley, how important were those CL-415s in containing that fire or limiting its spread when they came in?
All the aircraft that contributed yesterday played a significant role in containing it, as well as the natural barrier of the lake, and of course all the efforts of the firefighters that continued into the evening. So yeah.
Mindful of, we got some reporters on the line too, so I just want to give them a chance as well. Sarah Ritchie, are you on the line?
Yeah, my question is for Premier Houston. I'm hoping to get your reaction to comments that were made by Conservative MP Michelle Rempel-Garner today. She told reporters that her concern with what's happened in Nova Scotia and in New Brunswick is that the Liberal government has created a situation that Canadians expect that their only response is going to be to restrict their movement. The governments will respond to emergencies by restricting movement. And I'm just hoping to get your response to what she had to say.
I guess I find it remarkable, the interest in traveling in Nova Scotia woods by people who aren't in Nova Scotia and probably haven't been here very much in their life. So we're only concerned with keeping people safe. We'll do what's necessary to protect lives, and that's what we're doing in this case.
Sarah, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, if you don't mind, Premier, just generally speaking, this does seem to have become quite a flashpoint, in particular in Conservative circles across Canada, with a lot of people saying that this is the first step in what governments will undertake as climate lockdowns. And I guess just what do you make of the response?
I don't really have time for any type of conspiracy theories, or we haven't had any rain in Nova Scotia since June. So the thoughts and opinions of people who haven't been in Nova Scotia, who don't know what it's like in Nova Scotia right now, who probably have never been in the woods in Nova Scotia in their life, they're not a top. The thoughts and concerns of those people are not a top priority for me right now. My top priority is just keeping Nova Scotians safe.
And Michael Tutton, you're on the call. Do you still have a question?
Just a quick question for, I think, Scott. Is 17 fires, was it in 24 hours? Do you have any sense of why there was such a concentrated number in such a short period of time?
Like the Premier said, we've, over the course of the last few weeks, we've been getting, a few reports in fires almost every day. Of those 17 responses we had yesterday, crews were able to suppress and extinguish a number of them quite easily and focus efforts back on other ones that needed more attention. Why are we getting fires? It's dry, and unfortunately there's activities out there that are happening that shouldn't be. And again, as the Premier mentioned, it's testament to how dry it is, how easy it is for a fire to start and spread, and why it's important that we need everyone following our prevention measures.
Michael, did you want to ask? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Just to, of those 17, do you have any sense of whether some others were human caused? You've mentioned the one, Suzie Lake, being human caused. How many do you think were human caused?
I think if I may, I think the focus right now is on fighting the fires and keeping them back, and the response yesterday was remarkable. The quick response of our firefighters across the province. But I think the message for Nova Scotians, and there'll be lots of time to kind of go back and look at how individual fires started and take whatever actions might be necessary at that time based on that research and investigation. Right now, we're just trying to keep people safe. But the message for Nova Scotians is fires can start accidentally. They can start, just by the most innocuous way because it's so dry. It could be a broken glass, a broken bottle that's been in the woods for 15 years or something, but somehow the sun hits it at a certain direction and acts as a little magnifier and creates a fire. So, many of these are accidental, certainly not malicious, but they will be investigated. But I think it's just really, really dry. And, people who are in Nova Scotia certainly know, just walking across the yard right now, you can hear it crunch below your feet. That's a person's yard. So imagine out in the woods what it's like. So the conditions are extremely dangerous right now. So this is why we want to restrict activity in the woods. This is why we don't want people just out for a hike, spending time in the woods, because they could do something accidentally. But more importantly than that, they could find themselves surrounded by a fire, and then we're trying to find them and save them with resources that could be otherwise fighting the fire. So just stay away from the woods. Be smart. Understand how serious the situation is, and just be a good person.
So I know we also have Francois with Radio Canada on the line. Francois, do you want to go ahead with the question? And Jacob Moore with Acadia Broadcasting. Jacob, are you still there? And finally, Sheldon McLeod, are you still on the line?
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Hi, yes. Just a question for Scott. Can you clarify, I think you said the fire, because of the wind, was moving sort of maybe away from Bears Lake. Can you explain if that is the case, and also how the firefighting efforts may have prevented it from reaching any of those buildings in Bears Lake?
Yeah, I guess just to clarify, so the wind was more or less coming out of the south yesterday, and the outpatient clinic was to the south of the fire. So the wind was pushing it away from that clinic, but it, generally, to the right and the left of the spread of the fire, there was still values at risk, whether it be, the industrial shopping area of Bears Lake, or, had there been a shift to the other direction, there were subdivisions out past Suzie Lake. So No doubt, the firefighting efforts contained some of that outward spread, and we did have the wind and, of course, the barrier of the lake on our side as well. But there's no question the firefighting efforts had an effect.
Premier, just to be clear, it was 12 fines for violating the woods ban, for lack of better terms, is that correct? When you say 12 fines issued?
I think that's and Scott may know, but I think that's total for the woods ban and the fire itself ban.
Correct, yeah.
Tingley, was there a homeless encampment in this area where your crews responded to?
I think, again, sorry, but I think like the investigation in time will look at, the what, the why, the how, all those types of things. But for right now, the focus is just on containing the fire, fighting the fires, and just kind of reiterating to Nova Scotians that it's a risky situation and just obey the laws that are in place right now. But the actual cause and stuff, that investigation that'll take place after we get through this.
Obviously, there's the crisis of the moment, and, that needs to be addressed at the time. I wonder, though, if you could take a step back and comment on, the place of this fire in the overall picture of climate change, and debates about hiking in the woods aside. Are we going to see this every year, that there's going to be bans of hiking in the woods? Is your government doing enough to address climate change and so forth? Can you just comment on that?
I'm not gonna try to predict what the weather might be in next summer or the summer of 2027 or 2028 or 2029. I'm not gonna try to predict that right now. Certainly, we know that we haven't had any rain in this province since June, so we're dealing with that right now. The forecast is not seeing a lot of rain in the forecast for the next few weeks. So this is why we want Nova Scotians to be respectful of the situation. And on the broader question of are we doing what we can as a province and as people, I'd say the answer is yes.
Leave that off, Premier. So thank you very much. That's all the time we have today, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.